There is no defense against you being hacked.
She's found shot 5 times and there's no witnesses.
For every 10 people trying to defend it, there's 100 criminals out there trying to invent the new way to hack somebody.
And this is where it really got crazy. They said, he's our chief of detectives.
Oh my God.
𝗦𝘂𝗯𝘀𝗁.
You have to learn to think like the offenders so that you can figure out their next moves and hopefully interdict, catch them, throw them in jail for the rest of their lives. For me, when I got into the profiling unit, before I got there, first of all, I got about 10 years of experience investigating major cases, task forces with local law enforcement, and also doing everything I could to continue my study, my own independent study of behavior, reading John Douglas's books, Roy Hazelwood's books, Robert Ressler's books. All of those really helped me understand what they did for a living. And then when I got into the unit, we have a 2-year apprenticeship program. I completed it in 1 year, but there's a 480-hour course that we take. And it's basically one-on-one with experts from around the world. Whether it's Dr. Park Dietz teaching us abnormal psychology, Dr. 𝗦𝘂𝗯𝘀𝗰𝗀𝗀 from Scotland teaching us neurolinguistic programming, Dr. Robert Hare from Canada teaching us the psychopathy checklist. We get that intensive training while we're there. Then you just literally work with a bunch of other people on cases, and sometimes you're surprised by how your perspective can actually add to the mix. And I think that was critically important in the very first case that I profiled. The very first case that I was a profiler on, I was actually the brand new guy in the room. There was probably 10 or 15 other profilers who had many years of experience in the room as well. We got the presentation from Chief Detective on the case, and the district attorney was also in the room. This was a case where a young female physician was murdered. She was shot in her car in the parking lot in front of her clinic. She had one clinic in a very wealthy neighborhood, and this was another clinic that she had sort of to pay back in a very rough neighborhood. And so she's found shot 5 times and there's no witnesses. They were able to develop one camera down the street at a car dealership, and sort of the very top, sort of like the mirror you see in the corner here, the very top of that camera that was aimed down at the cars at the lot showed a block down. You could actually see part of the parking lot, and you could see her car pull into the space, but you could only see right up to the top of the door before the window started. This is the passenger side of the car. And so at some point you see, it looks like a male approaching, stopping at that door, opening the door, getting in, and about 90 seconds later getting out and walking away. And that's all you see. There's nothing else. Then we looked at the autopsy report, and this woman was shot 3 times through the heart, once in her right shoulder, basically an arm. So one through the arm and shoulder, and one through her side. As everybody was trying to figure out this case, what happened, of course, what you do is you play it through your mind. How did this happen? What happened was this guy who killed this woman was close to her, knew her very well, she trusted him, and he was left-handed. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I said, well, as I play this through my mind, trying to determine why she ended up dead in this position, why she was shot in the positions that she was shot in, what I did was I played it out as if the guy who came into the car was right-handed first. And if he was, she would have fought him by pushing the gun forward towards the windshield. And if the gun went off, it would have put a hole in the windshield. But if he was left-handed, then the gun would have been more to her right side. And if she didn't feel like she was going to just sit there and get shot by this guy, she would have to rotate back and grab the gun with both hands and push it back between the seats. She did that until he bit her. There was a upside down bite mark on the back of her left triceps. So that's the thing that made me know that she rotated all the way around, and both of their hands were on the gun. The only weapon that he had left was his mouth. He bites her on the back of the arm. She lets go of the gun. He's able to shoot her then in the side, under her arm, through her arm, and then to kill her, he brings the gun around front and shoots her 3 times in the heart. And so all of that was because when I looked at it, I happen to be left-handed. I looked at it from the left-handed perspective, and no one else in the room did. I looked around and nobody else was writing with their left hand. I was the only one. I told them this, and this is where it really got crazy. When I told them this, I could see the detective and the prosecutor exchanging a very serious look. And I said, what's wrong? And they said, her ex-husband is left-handed. And I said, okay, so what's the problem? And they said, he's our chief of detectives.
Oh my God.
So he was the boss of the detective that was sitting in front of me. And as it turned out, he was convicted of the murder. Now, before that, they had no idea. But then when they started going back and looking at his behavior right after the event, when they went to notify him that his wife had been killed, he was on the floor on his hands and knees in the foyer of his house, scrubbing the floor with Clorox. He's supposed to be at work, but he's home doing this. They're like, what's going on? He said, there was a mess, so I'm cleaning it up. But what that also did was destroy the paraffin test that would tell that he fired a weapon recently.
With technology being the way it is, there is no defense against you being hacked. There is no defense. There's no penetration defense. There's nothing strong enough to keep it from happening. Instead, what we have to do is we have to focus on identifying quickly as soon as it happens, and then having a plan to triage. It's something called the security dilemma. The security dilemma is what drives most of the digital space right now. It's not about protecting against the current capability. It's about recognizing that future capabilities will always be stronger than current defenses. For every 10 people out there building a defense against current capabilities, against current hackers, against current criminals, for every 10 people trying to defend it, there's 100 criminals out there trying to invent the new way to hack somebody. So if you just look at, measures of force, the bad guys are always incentivized to innovate. The good guys are always limited in their innovation by only being able to innovate against what currently exists. So bad guys invent something new, good guys invent something that blocks the bad guys. So then bad guys invent something else new. But there's a gap there. That gap means that good guys will lose until they defend again. And that's how the whole process works.